Hi, everybody. It's LindaG with our favorite psychic, Sterling.
Good morning, everybody. Yeah,
I don't
great.
mean to be favorite, but you are my favorite. And I love Mel, and I love the Kevins, and I love everybody else. But I was just talking to him about making my list of all these people, and a whole bunch. I must have 6 pages of people.
Wow.
But he just told me he has a few openings in August and September, I think. So if you need to book a reading. The problem is when I introduce people, well, like you even, you're very good at keeping your time. Not like me who opened the door and got booked for a year. But you're good at that. It's very important not to keep yourself steady.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're talking about it takes a lot of energy to do this work. And if you do it for long periods of time without any kind of rest in between, it does catch up with you. So there's a balance required there. Very true. Yeah.
And like I just told Sterling, in Sedona, I read 80 people in 2 days. And a lot of people were mentioning on my show, God, you look you look so tired, Linda. And I am. And let me tell you, I did get a good sleep last night, but I'm just now catching up. And that was 2 weeks ago.
Oh, good, good. Yeah.
So, okay, we got questions from everybody. I want to thank Linda, Sterling's beautiful wife. She gets in there and checks out these questions, and Dan, who types them up for me and gives them to me.
Exactly. Great help.
Great help. Great team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 1, drone attacks in Russia have been happening for the past 2 days. Okay, yeah, we know that. Putin is blaming Ukraine for the attacks, of course, on residential buildings, but Ukraine is denying it. Who is behind the drone attacks on civilian buildings inside Russia?
I get there's a split there. What I get is that there's a good chunk, like a third of those hits are coming from militants inside Russia, trying to disrupt Russia. And
That
maybe
makes total sense.
And 2/3 of them are coming over from Ukraine. So there's we've talked about this before, but there's going to be an upswell in people in Russia against what's going on in Ukraine, and they're going to start to work against the Russian government kind of covertly. So I get some of those attacks are coming from militants inside Russia.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, will Ukraine kick off their counteroffensive soon, and will they take back all their land, including Crimea?
Yeah, and it's interesting. I always get that the counteroffensive has already started. It's not like knowing what's going on here, but it's already started. And I do see a heavy integration of like the air power, the F-16s coming up fairly shortly. It's kind of interesting. I think they were on a several-month delay to get training, but I'm seeing something like somebody's interceding there, like from another country to handle the F-16s. So all that's coming up. Yeah, but I feel like they've already started the counteroffensive.
Well, it's so funny you said that, because this morning somebody showed on the news Zelensky saying they're getting ready to do their counteroffensive, and it's going to be strong. I wouldn't announce these things. I don't know why they announce it. I would just do it.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Lately I'm seeing vehicles with solar panels installed on their roofs. When will cars with solar panels become mainstream?
Well, within a decade, that technology is going to catch up. So there are some cars with solar panels on them right now. The problem is there's not enough surface area, and the panels are not efficient enough to charge the entire car. They can charge some of your accessories. So within a decade, there's panel technology coming that will charge the whole vehicle and only take up the square area of like the roof itself, or maybe part of the hood. So yeah, it's coming. Yeah, but within a decade, it'll be here.
Okay. Are any of the Democrat justices on the Supreme Court involved in funny money business dealings like the Republicans?
I get not to the extent, but I get there's a little bit of thing going on there where, maybe there's some hotel stay paid for in another city, or, there's some things there, but it's not on the order of, let's say, millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. So
yeah,
I get there's a little bit of impropriety going on there, but not to the scale we've seen it on the other side. Yeah.
There was one Democratic one that she bought a big platter of bagels, and they were going to pay her for it, and she said no.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, with the 4 Proud Boys found guilty of seditious conspiracy and obstruction, will other senators and congressional members be indicted as well?
I think I've read on this before, but I'm getting again here is not for seditious conspiracy, but for other crimes, because there's a very high legal bar to hit seditious conspiracy, and they
Okay.
successfully did it with some of the Proud Boys. Yeah.
Okay. McCarthy mentioned today that they are going after Social Security and Medicare for cuts, regardless if he is Speaker in coming days or months. Do you feel the GOP will be successful?
100% no.
That's what I got too.
Yeah, no, they're going to throw, it's like throwing a lot of mud at the wall, but it's not going to stick. Yeah.
Even today on the news, they were talking about Target and Bud Light and all that.
Mhm.
And a good percentage of Americans don't have any problem with Pride Month or anything like that. It's
Right.
just,
Yeah, exactly.
we're going to make sure you guys can be happy.
Mhm.
Hi, Linda and Sterling. Please take a look at the situation in Florida concerning Ron DeSatan. Quote unquote, private police, by the way, he calls them the brown shirts, which is exactly what Hitler did.
Mhm.
And his intentions. I understand police that were fired or had complaints lodged against them will be hired by him. His intentions are not clear. It's very clear. He wants to get a little commandant going there.
Yeah, he wants to go after a lot of the people that are going against his radical policies. He wants to identify who's, let's say, supporting LGBTQ plus communities and, supporting book bans that he put in place. Sure, that's what it's all about. But it's going to fizzle out. It's going to fizzle out.
He's working against teachers right now, unions. The thing that makes America great.
Right. And, it's surprising they would even go after Disney. I understand why he's doing it, but it's almost like the whole world loves Disney to a certain extent. Interesting,
By the way, I see Disney winning their lawsuits.
Well, they have a very sharp legal team.
Yeah.
I can tell you that.
Okay.
So
you had a little experience.
They're very good. And they've already actually won a couple of rounds already. Yeah.
Fantastic. And a lot of people were taken DeSatan to court because of his book banning and stuff. But can I ask you what you saw for the outcome for DeSatan? I don't see him winning as president.
No, not at all. In fact, I read this a couple of shows back, but what I saw was he was going, my guys were saying he's going through what they call a death spiral. That was like a World War II airplane scenario when a plane's going down. Mm-hmm. So he's starting a death spiral that everything he's doing is creating like a bigger ditch, so to speak. So he's on the way, like he up and then down. So he won't be a factor in the election. No.
But will Florida eventually be rid of him?
Yeah, and it looks like it starts to calm down for me as you get past the 2024 presidential election. For some reason, it calms down because 45 doesn't win. And then a lot of, it's almost like the whole GOP has said, okay, we took our last best shot. It didn't work. And now we got to do something else. So they're going to retrench. Yeah. So,
and I see some of these lawsuits going against him. Constitutionally, even the Supreme Court makes a ruling that goes against him because it's so blatantly. Did you hear about the AG in Texas withheld 2,500 million votes?
It was Ken Paxton we're talking about, and I think he withheld the mail-in votes, right?
Yes.
So he admitted it, which is, somebody in the news quoted some of these GOP saying they're too dumb to play dumb. Yeah. So they try to use as a legal defense. I didn't know
look,
I was
saved
dumb.
You guys, yeah, I cheated and saved you guys.
But then they incriminate themselves in public, so it's too dumb to play dumb. So
I hope Texas takes this to court. But the other thing is, Beto could have been the winner.
Yeah, and I always thought I'm being cheated out of it. Yeah, yep. So here the evidence is coming out. Yeah.
And the other thing is, they are going to make sure in Texas with the upcoming elections, nobody mails their vote in. They're going to make sure they have plenty of car rides and stuff and give people lists to vote in person.
Right.
Okay. June is a Pride Month, and since so many MAGAs and Christian nationalists appear to want LGBTQ to lose all of their rights and their voice. Will there be any violence against them this month?
Well, I get nothing significant, but there's going to be a lot of localized rioting. So a lot of places around the country where they're on different sides of the street, so to speak, and, rioting and protesting. But I don't see massive violence. I think if that was the question,
Okay.
which means like, people being killed. It just looks like a lot of violence and people being arrested for fights. Yeah. So I see that. Yeah.
They had here in my town, of course, this is California, but they had a huge gay pride parade downtown and there was no violence at all.
Yeah, they just had one here in West Hollywood, Southern California, a big one that I think it went off without a hitch so far. Yeah,
That's great. Did Ivana Trump really fall down the stairs? Her autopsy cites severe trauma to her torso, which seems inconsistent.
you know what I've always got on that for entertainment purposes only is that there was foul play involved. So, but it had to do with some sort of a medication or something being slipped to her so that she wasn't as conscious as she should have been, and that's the analogy is there is almost having someone help push you off the cliff.
Also her thing with Trump was ending. She could write a book or talk about their relationship. He only had her shut her mouth for so many years, and that was ending.
Exactly. I do feel like she was going to be witness for the government coming up. There's a lot of things going on there. Yeah, for entertainment purposes only. But I've always there's an element of foul play there. But whoever did it was fairly crafty at how they slipped her the medications. So
yeah. There will be 2 elections in Ohio regarding reproductive rights. One in August and one in November. Will women's right win?
They will. And that is related, I think, to adding amendments to the Constitution. I'm almost positive. So I don't see those amendments being successfully added to the Constitution.
You mean against women's rights?
Correct. I think they're trying to put amendments to the Constitution to get in the way of women's rights. So that would be, So it looks like women's rights will be upheld.
Okay. Hi, Linda and Sterling. Will there be any repercussions to Manchin for squeezing in the pipeline approval in the debt ceiling bill?
Unfortunately, no.
That's what I got too. I wish I could tell you guys yes, but I feel Virginia's all thrilled.
Yeah, and it's all, politics is a bit of a game, unfortunately. It's like a sport. And, when you can sneak things in on a bill and an important bill, you don't want to get stopped. Was it Tim Kaine? I think Tim Kaine was trying to get that pipeline amendment taken out of the debt ceiling bills. I think Tim Kaine was the one. Mm-hmm. And so I guess he wasn't successful. He was going to try. But
I see Cinema.
Oh, sure. Yeah, no, absolutely.
I don't see her winning this.
I don't see her surviving the next election round. No.
Okay. Hello, Linda, Sterling, and team. I'm wondering about Ascension symptoms. Are they real? And if so, are autoimmune diseases, depression, anxiety, etc., reactions to the energetic shift? More than a handful of friends and acquaintances in the past 6 months have been diagnosed or dealing with these serious health issues. If real, can you please expand a bit on this?
Yeah, I don't see them related to Ascension symptoms, but what they are related to is there's a lot of light workers out there. They're also empaths. And if you're an empath, you're taking all the energy in from news and people around you. So in an indirect way, when you're an empath, if you don't deal with those energies you're taking in, somehow ground yourself, center yourself. People say balance your chakras. Those that will develop other kind of health conditions. That's very true.
Right.
But nothing regarding Ascension symptoms. No.
Okay. Well, there was a guy that wrote a book. I'll find it. I know it's very expensive to buy it now. And I think I have an extra copy I'll send you. And he talked about what's happening now years ago. And he said, you'll notice a lot of young people just dropping dead because it's like it's too much for them. The vibrational energy, because we are going in a higher realm.
Oh, sure. This my team has always said we're in a 3-decade major reset that started 2020 and ends in 2050. So this is
Okay.
this whole decade reset we're going through right now. We all agreed to be down here to help, all of us. So
All of us
everything
did.
that's down here right now, don't be surprised you agreed to be here during this time period.
I
So
know it's a tough time too.
yeah.
Hello, Linda Sterling team. I wonder. Oh wait, I just read that. Spain's livestock is now apparently too expensive to feed, and the pastures are drying up. Will this happen in areas of the U.S., including the South? And if so, how close are we to it? 1 to 2 years, 5 years?
Yeah, I get it actually is going to catch up with the US. And it's going to be a bit of an issue within 4 to 5 years and then start to turn and get better. So there is kind of there's an issue, a problem coming up in that area, but it's more like 4 or 5 years out and then it starts to turn around. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, because some of those horse grazing places are real dry.
Right.
Okay. Oh, dearest Sterling, I lost my precious dog, Colin, with whom I shared the most intensely loving relationship. You know, they are so unconditional dogs.
They are.
We are rarely more than an arm's length away from each other. He didn't crowd me. My dogs crowd me. They're huge, and they both try to just lay right on top of me with looks in their eyes of, Mama, please show me love. Like, get the hell out of here. Anyway, we were really more than an arm's length. He didn't crowd me. He was an ever-present comfort for me, and witnessing him pass was so traumatic, I can imagine. 2 years ago, I'm still grieving his loss. Can you tell me if Colin has a message for me, or can you tell me, is he most likely around me?
He is. And the name of the dog is Colin. Is that the name of the dog?
Colin?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Like
Okay.
Colin first?
Yeah. I get he's around this individual. Absolutely. He actually wants you to move forward with getting another pet, was what I pick up from him. So he
Oh.
wonders like what's taking so long, because like you're grieving the fact that there is no birth, there is no death. He's around you. He wants to know. I get he's trying to push you towards another pet.
And sometimes when we're grieving too hard, it deters their growth. But my Moochie is still around, the dog I had when I lived in Marin. And I
Sure.
just had a psychic tell me, you know, when you're talking, I see this black dog. It's not Jack, it's a different dog. And I said, that's Moochie. Moochie showed up when I brought Lulu home. And just as clear as day, walking down the hallway. And I went to say, hey, meet your new sister. And I said, wait a second, you're dead. And it dissipated. And it wasn't a dream, it was live TV.
Absolutely. Yeah. We see our dogs all the time in spirit around our house. We've got
Oh,
a lot
yeah.
of,
Oh,
lot of
you
dogs
do?
over the years. We've got
Yeah.
a lot of dogs over the years. Incredible number. Yeah.
Yeah. Recently, I saw a seer at a Republican gathering on the news. Does 45 employ psychics to warn him of what's coming? Do they guide him to help him keep out of trouble?
I get some have tried, but I don't get he actually listens to any of it.
That's what I thought.
Any more than he listens to any of his lawyers.
Or
So
his advisors.
I get occasionally, I do get occasionally people have tried to take him aside and say, hey, look, don't take this the wrong way, but you know, I'm a psychic medium. Here's what you need to watch out for. And you're like, okay, thanks. And you know, and it goes in one ear and out the other.
Yeah, he does. He's sort of a bah humbug guy. He doesn't believe in religion or anything.
Correct.
But I got to tell you something else. I know we talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
You probably remember better. Do you remember when he was president, we saw him even maybe trying to think of a war to stop him from being taken out of office?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Remember we talked about that? Because when I heard that he was in fact he wanted to hit Iran, and he was trying to get Miley to help him with it. Miley was refusing.
Right.
I went, ting, I know Sterling and I talked about this.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So desperate. And let me tell you something else. This is my opinion, entertainment purposes only. I think the intel or the Secret Service and some other people told him, sir, because he was just going to sit there. Sir, if you do not leave, we will have to physically remove you. And he was shocked that they would do that, but they were going to do it. And that's when he reluctantly packed up and left.
Exactly. I agree with all that. It was, I think that's all part of the military's job. As a matter of fact, if you don't leave office, they actually do get involved, escort you out.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, it's all
and
part
he
of.
wasn't going to be shown the door and be, laughed at.
Yeah, and I think the military, by the way, I think they already knew that. I think Milley already knew that was one of his strategies, to try to create a world conflict somewhere, a war, and then
Yes.
say, I can't be removed because now we're in the middle of a war. The
Yeah.
government was already, in the military was already onto that.
Right. When I first started reading years ago, you might remember, I kept seeing the military top brass around an oak table saying
Mhm.
somebody needs to get rid of the codes from him because
Mhm.
he could blow up such and such at any time. They were worried
Absolutely,
about it.
yeah. Absolutely.
Has all of de Satan's grandstanding, abuse of power, bans, and threats of creating his own military been part of a plan to destabilize Florida enough to separate it from the United States and create his own authoritarian state?
It'll never happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
This is
never
the United
happened.
States.
That's
Yeah.
all fantasy discussion. It's kind of throwing it's they'll never happen. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Can intellect be inherited?
What could be inherited?
Intellect.
Oh, intellect. Well, interesting. That all gets back to your extended spiritual family. So if you agree to that as part of your life path blueprint, it comes down with you. I think the person asking the question is it biologically related across humanity? It actually rolls back to your spiritual group.
Isn't that
So if you agree in the spiritual group, okay, now I'm coming down, I'm now gonna come up with the next, medical breakthrough for cancer or something, and the intellect flows with that. It's all part of your life path, is what my team tells me. Yeah.
Yeah, I never thought of myself as being intelligent, and I had dyslexia, so it was hard for me. But then I became a nurse, and
Well,
then
some of the greatest thinkers in the world had dyslexia, because those are more out of the box thinkers. So
yeah,
you actually see things differently. Yeah, there's a lot of famous people and very credible people that grew up with dyslexia, and it helped them.
yeah. Well, that put me in a special reading place and all that, and then all of a sudden, boom, give me a little Shakespeare, and I could read it word for word. Okay, recently I heard a psychic say there will be a third-party ticket running for POTUS in 2024 that's made up of one Republican and one Democrat. He said they would siphon off 20% of the votes from Biden. Biden will get 29% of the votes, and Trump will get over 30% of the votes and will win. Can you check with your guides on this?
Don't see that happening at all.
Don't see it happening.
I do see what I call some minor, I'm going to call them pop-up parties. It's almost like what Andrew Yang tried to do a little bit. But those minor parties don't have a significant effect on the election. So whatever was described here by taking 20% of the election, those number will actually never happen. I don't, looking at the Akashic records, it doesn't happen. Oh.
Okay. And also, Robert Kennedy's not going to do anything to Biden either.
No, it's there's a field of candidates there that'll just, be on the scene for a little while and then fizzle out.
But there's more people that are going to vote for Robert Kennedy that are Republicans.
Yeah.
Hey, Sterling and Linda, I have a question about AI and Chat Pit. Does that make sense?
Chat GPT?
ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's exactly.
Something. I'm very worried from the warning that when AI gets smarter, they will destroy mankind. Do you either see that happen? Do you see that either of you see that happen in the future?
No, not at all. What's interesting about artificial intelligence is that ETs have been using it for years in a very advanced state. So it's really just kind of developing here right now around humanity. It's actually going to be a tremendously helpful tool, and it will be managed. And there's a lot of, elements that will be somewhat difficult because you can create deep fakes. You can, make Tom Cruise in a video saying something he didn't say, or we've seen now some scams where people said their loved ones were kidnapped and they recreated the loved one's voice on the phone. Yeah, so that's all going to get managed, but AI is going to be a tremendous tool for helping humanity. So it's going to get managed, just like nuclear energy. It's going to get managed.
Okay.
So.
There's a breast cancer vaccine currently in later stage clinical trials. It's based off the same technology as the COVID vaccine. Will it be available soon, and will it be successful?
I get 100% that it's going to be a good, effective solution over the next 4 or 5 years here, just as CRISPR technology comes online for different types of cancer, including breast cancer.
Right.
So whatever this vaccine is, will be very, very helpful for a lot of people in the ensuing few years here. Yeah.
Oh, that's good news.
Mhm.
Hi, Linda and Sterling. Did Cleopatra actually get buried in a tomb when the Romans invaded Egypt, or did she flee Alexandria and live her life in exile? Her tomb has never been found in Egypt, but does it even exist?
So it's the latter. She actually did escape and lived in seclusion to escape people that were trying to murder her or kill her. So
Right.
she realized that her life was in danger. So I've always got she got to escape. And I've also got that they haven't found her tomb because it doesn't exist, in the
Okay.
way they think it does. So she is buried somewhere, but it's not like a tomb that people would be able to find and say, it's not
Right.
like King Tut's tomb or something. So yeah.
But if she faked her own death, they did take her baby son and kill him.
I do recall that was the case. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My question centers around Neuralink. I get the feeling that this could become a personal internal AI that monitors biological functions and assists with not only mental health, but physical health as well, as a personal companion that speaks to you and helps you like a life coach with. What does the guide say? And would it be possible in the next couple of years? What is Neuralink?
That's an Elon Musk venture, and but there's going to be many like it, many copycat ventures like it, and it's all coming. I know there's a lot of fear out there, but this biological technology linkage with the human body is coming, and it's going to serve a lot of good features. Like, for example, decades down the road, they'll be able to teach you like a foreign language in 5 or 10 minutes through this coupling. So it'll be a computer coupling with the human body. They'll analyze different, problems in the body, almost like a diagnostic port on a car. So all this technology is coming, and not to be fearful of it, but it's coming. Within decades, a lot of this is coming, but not just Elon Musk venture. Many companies will be developing the technology.
Interesting. My question is, can we ask, this is a good question. Can we ask to be a psychic medium in our soul contract, or is it just a gift?
Well, everybody's born with a certain level of psychic mediumship ability, but some people will put it on their path in a way that they're going to get it out to the world in a way that, say, helps the world in a larger sense. I always draw the analogy to being a musician. Everybody can learn how to play an instrument, but some people are really so good that at 5 years old, they're playing Mozart or something. So the level of gift that you come down with is part of your blueprint.
Okay.
So you can't ask to be a virtuoso if you haven't had that on your life path. You can learn to play an instrument. So like psychic mediumship, you can do it in a way that helps you and those around you, but may not be you may not be on a worldwide platform. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And you also have free will. There's some people out there that are dynamic psychic mediums. I've talked to them personally, but they never wanted to come work in the forefront. They've chose not to.
Right.
They just play with it. Now that Biden administration has put troops on the US-Mexico border, what will the result be of his action?
In a larger sense, I get a greater efficiency at the border. So being able to process people faster, or free up people that have to handle all the legal elements or the registration elements. So it looks like it's going to free up people that need to do the job of actually bringing people in. So it looks like greater efficiency to me, huh?
I love what's happening. Well, I'm sorry for the people of Florida that are suffering. But him saying that driver's license were going to be checked, you can't be an immigrant to have a driver's license in Florida, mass exodus of the immigrants. Thus, grocery stores they're not filled, it's hurting Florida terribly. My son said there's nations that don't allow immigrants. I can't remember. He mentioned a couple of places and he was right. If you don't and allow people to work, it doesn't help your economy. So
Correct, correct. There's a balancing of the economy. Immigrants play a very important part in the
Huge.
economy, because there's plenty of jobs to go around. It's, so they balance out the economy. It helps.
Right, right. What impact will the sargassum seaweed have on Florida and Texas? And will their governors fall flat on their faces when it's time for them to handle this disaster?
Yeah, this is that big
Is it still
multi-mile
coming?
seaweed. Yeah. What I've always gotten is it's going to get tackled with, let's say, hundreds of dump trucks a day. So it's going to be almost like, any other kind of a major disaster, but they're going to handle it. So I don't see, I think the person asked the question, will the governments collapse or will DeSantis collapse over it? I've always got, they're going to handle it. And I see like 100 dump trucks a day for weeks and months handling it. Yeah.
And that's wonderful.
Yeah.
What is coming up for next week?
Well, this has been in the media right at where I'm getting, but I'm just confirming. It looks like we'll see Pence and Chris Christie, announce their presidential run. Looks like that's coming up this week. I also get we're going to have I'll call wildfire related problems. So something around central Canada affecting like the Midwest of the U.S. So either more fires or more pollution or something going on
in Nova Scotia right now,
and Nova Scotia as well. But there's something around middle of Canada affecting the Midwest of the U.S. And the other thing my team was talking about this morning was something about a bird migration problem that's going to come into the view. We're going to understand there's some sort of like a major bird migration problem. And it may have to do with hypersonic weapons testing or something going on here. We're going to come out. It messes up with the sonar of the birds, but there's something coming up with that. Yeah.
Wow. We're coming up to some exciting months, by the way. Okay. And do your guides have a message for us?
They do. Overall, they're saying be calm in everything that's going on in the world right now, because the universe, one source, one force, has a much larger plan that you're not aware of. And so allow that plan to work out. Everything is on course and has a plan.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I will get to see you in 2 weeks.
Absolutely.
God willing, nothing planned.
No more Sedona offsites next 2 weeks. Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you.
By the way, real quickly, I think we might mention it, but if anyone needs to reach me, just go to sterlingpsychicmedium.com, look for the book a session tab. It's very easy. And then of course we have a YouTube channel on YouTube here, Sterling Psychic Medium. Yeah.
And it's a good channel. You get right to the point.
I was telling you, bad habit I got into when I was little.
Okay, you guys, take care. Have
Wonderful.
a good day. It's a beautiful
day
here in Northern California. Cheers.